In this lesson, we're going to learn all about text. We're going to learn how to create text, add text, thread text, and create and work with saved styles. If you're following along with this lesson, open the Trifold Brochure Illustrator file from the Chapter 2 subfolder of the Project Files folder located on your desktop. When you open the file, you might get a missing font warning. The font used to create the original logo was Code Pro Demo. It can be downloaded from myfonts.com, or you can substitute it with any font you choose. Either way will be fine. There are various ways to get text into Illustrator. We can type it directly in, and that's called point type, or we can place it into containers. We can place it in from Word documents, text files, and many other places. Let's talk about point type first. If we need to create type, we need to go over and select our type tool. And then to create point type, we simply click anywhere on the workspace we'd like to create our type. Now, if we don't have the same fonts, you and I, that's fine. Also, if we don't have the same font color, that's fine as well because we can change that shortly. For now, though, let's type this. Why use our services? And question mark. Now, I might go ahead and tell you if you're having a hard time seeing this, that's because we're at 44% for this lesson, okay? Notice down in the lower left-hand corner of your workspace, that tells you your magnification level of this document. And right now, we've zoomed out a little bit so you can see the whole thing. We'll zoom in shortly. All right, so we just created some text, right? We just clicked on the page and created some type. Now let's do this. Now let's select the type. Take your cursor and drag over to the left. And let's manually modify this text. To do that, you're going to need to open the character panel and the paragraph panel. There are quick links for those located right here in the control panel. If we click this little link called character, this will temporarily open the character panel, and this is where you can change your font or your font style, your text size, or many other attributes of your text. So what I'll have you do is I'll let you go down the list of fonts, and you and I probably don't have the same thing, so I'll let you choose any font that you like. Maybe I'll go with this Cooper STD because I've used that in other places, and I'll just choose that and maybe black. All right. Now, because our panel is still open, kind of hiding the text, you can't really see it that well, so why don't we go grab the selection tool and then deselect. All right, so there's our text. Why use our service? Well, this might be a good time to zoom in a little bit. So on a PC, the shortcut for that is Control plus. On a Mac, it is Command plus. And that would be the Control or Command minus to zoom out. That lets us zoom in and zoom out. Why use our services? Now to move that type around, since we have our selection tool active, we simply click on the type and move it to reposition it and put it anywhere that we want it to be. Now, if you're not seeing a bounding box around your text, it may be because we hid the bounding box in an earlier lesson. You'll need to see it a little later in this lesson, so you can go up to the View menu and select Show Bounding Box. Or you can use the keyboard shortcut Shift-Control-B on Windows or Shift-Control-B on the Mac. Now, if you want to change the font color, it's very easy to do that. Let's open our swatches panel. I'm going to go right over here to the dock, click once on the swatches panel, and just pull this guy away from the group. Now, to apply color to the text, I actually need to select the text. Notice that the selection tool is active, but that's okay. If I triple click inside of the text container, that actually selects our text, and now we can choose any text color that we like. Let's maybe go with red, or you can choose any other color that you'd like to. Okay, very good. All right, so we have manually formatted our text, and that's great. Let's go over and grab our selection tool and deselect. Well, what if we wanted to use this same font, this same color again and again? Well, that's where creating a style will come in handy. All right, let's do that. We're going to need to open a couple of panels that we don't have open quite yet. So let me go ahead and move these guys out of the way. And now let's go to the Window menu, and let's go down to the Type category, and let's open the character styles, and we also need to open the paragraph styles. Now, those little links that we've been opening in the control panel, and they've been temporarily opening the character panel and the paragraph panel, if you need those to stay open, you'll want to open those from here. But for now, what I want us to do is maybe just click on Character Styles, and then let's go back to the window menu. Let's go down to Type, and let's open the paragraph styles as well. Alright, so I've got these two, and now I'll just move these guys out of the way. Alright, so we've created this great text, and we might want to use this again and again, so let's create a style from it. Now, there's two different kinds of save styles in regards to text. There's paragraph styles and character styles. And for this sample lesson, you're going to see a couple of styles have already been created for us. We have body copy and we have header 1. If you need to apply formatting to blocks of text that are separated with paragraph returns, you can create paragraph styles for that. If you need to create styles for, let's just say, independent words or point type, like this guy here that we just created, well, a character style will probably be best suited for that. Let's see how that works. First of all, let's triple click here again and select our text that we just created manually. And we like this style so much that we want to save it. So let's go over to the character panel, and you could either use this little icon here in the bottom of the character styles panel, or you can use the flyout menu. I think I'll choose that and go up to new character style. Illustrator is asking us to name our new character style. We already have a style called header 1, so why don't we name this one header 2? And then click OK. You'll notice that header 2 is now available in our character styles panel. That means that we can reuse header 2 anytime. Well, let's see how that works. First of all, let's deselect anything that we have selected. And here's a great shortcut. Hold down your space bar at any time, and that turns your cursor into the grabber hand. We can navigate over to this middle column over to the right. Alright, so let's select the text here at the very top that says Pet Services Include. Now what we're going to do is actually apply header 2 character style that we just created. With the text selected, hover over and then click header 2. When you click it once, you may think, well, that didn't really happen the way it was supposed to, and that's okay, that's normal. Anytime that you see a little plus sign appear when you add a save style, that's okay. That's Illustrator's way of letting you know, hey, well, something doesn't match. You already had a style that had been applied maybe manually, and now you're trying to apply a character style, and the two don't match. All you need to do is click this guy once again, and then the styles will match. All right, very good. So we have just created our first style. Now, for this column, it appears that our header 2, the font, is actually a little smaller than the bulleted type underneath. Well, you can always override an applied style manually by selecting the text, and then you can add some manual formatting as well. Let's do that. Let's go up here to the character panel, and let's bump up the text size a little bit. Maybe we'll just click this down arrow and choose 24 points. That might be a little too big actually. Let's choose 18 points, and when we click away, it looks like indeed that is a good size. Now here's the same situation I just told you about a minute ago. When you see the little plus sign, Illustrator's letting you know, hey, you have local formatting and you also have formatting that is governed by a saved style. This little plus sign lets you know that there's a conflict. Sometimes it's just simply okay to keep it like that because we meant to do that. All right? Very good. Let's go up to the View menu and let's go down to Fit All in Window so we can actually see our entire workspace again. And then let's activate our Selection tool and deselect. What we'll do for now is move our Paragraph Styles panel and our Character Styles panel over to the right. Better yet, let's group these two guys together. Let's take Character Styles by the tab and pull it up and group it with Paragraph Styles, and we'll just move these two guys out of the way for now. Alright, as we can see, point text, not a big deal to create. Well, what if you need to bring in a lot of text, perhaps from an alternate source, like a Word document? Well, in that case, you might want to create a text container and then place the text in the container so you can actually control how the text appears on your screen, all right? So let's go over and grab the type tool, and with the type tool active, we will drag out a container for the first bit of text that we are going to bring in. Now with your cursor still blinking inside of there, you are going to want to bring in some text from an external source. So to do that, you'll go to the File menu and choose Place. Let's go to the Text folder and let's find Big City Info Word document and let's click Place. Illustrator is going to present us with a few options. We actually should deselect all of these checkboxes here because we don't have any of that. And if your Word document had any formatting of its very own, we could leave that at the door by choosing Remove Text Formatting here, and that would leave any word styles behind. For the most part, that's typically a good idea. I don't think our Word document has any, so I believe if we click OK, we are good to go. Now, bringing in that text was great, but I don't think we got it all. As a matter of fact, I know we didn't. And how you can tell that is because you see a little overset text port here. That means that we have text that isn't accounted for and we need to deal with it. Let's go grab our selection tool, and if you click one time on the overset text port, your cursor is going to become loaded. That will allow you to put the text wherever you want it to be. So what we'll do is go over to the outside page, page 5 here, and let's click and drag down. And when we do, a text container is created and our text continues to flow inside of our new container. We still don't have everything we need though. Do you see this little port? So let's address our issue. Let's click this port again, and right here on the outside panel of our trifold document, if we just simply click and drag down again, we see that we start to get the rest of our threaded text. Illustrator is showing us text threads, and these are very helpful when you have text threaded from page to page. This lets you know visually how your story is threaded. Here's another great thing. Perhaps you decide that the text container here on page 5 maybe is a little bit too large and you'd like to put some of that text over here on page 1. Well, that's fine. Let's click this middle node and drag down to resize this particular text container and make it a little smaller. And Illustrator says, oh, okay, well, I'm going to take the text that no longer fits in this container and I'll put it in the next threaded text container. Okay, so notice again, you just pull this down a little bit, and as you resize your text container, Illustrator knows how to deal with the threaded text. We can reposition our text containers and put these guys anywhere that we want without a problem. Sometimes it's helpful to use your arrow keys to nudge your selected text instead of using your mouse. It's just a little easier sometimes to position your items exactly where you want them to be. Very nice. All right, so we've talked about creating point type, and we've also talked about bringing type in. And we've also created a style and used a style. And we'll also remember that we have paragraph styles and character styles that we could still use if we want to. What that means is just like before, anytime that you want to apply a save style to any of your text, you simply select the text that you want to apply it to and then you apply your style. Let's do that one more time. Let's grab our type tool, select our text that we want to apply a style to, look over in the character styles panel. In this case, we have two save styles, header 1 and header 2. This time, let's apply a header 1 style to our selected text simply by clicking one time. We see the plus sign. We know that's okay. All we need to do is click again to apply the text. We have a funny word wrap here. No problem. Put your cursor right before options, and if you hold down your shift key and hit return, or shift enter if you're on a PC keyboard, that puts in a soft return. Okay, so I think we have a good start when it comes to adding point type and also bringing in type from another source.